Beverly and I are still alive, and as you can see from the title, we are still in quarantine and have been so for 4 consecutive weeks now. 28 days we've been in exile, and we're doing fine. I mean, we're not, we don't go out much anyway. I mean, other than to make videos and to do our normal shopping, which we haven't had to do, because we got enough stuff on hand. We got lots of stuff on hand. And part of the reason for that, well, the entire reason for that is because Bev and I like to cook as a hobby. And so, when we're out shopping, we buy too much all the time. It's like, hey, that'd be good. We could try that. We could try this. And so we ended up with a lot of stuff over the years and decades. A lot of stuff that, we have on hand. And, sometimes we use it for making cooking videos, and sometimes we just use it because it's what we do for fun, is cooking. So we are in a particularly good position to be in lockdown because there's not too much we need. Our needs are small. So there is that. And but we still have to fill our time. Now, again, not a huge problem. For those of you that are homeowners, there's always more to do than there is hours to do it in. And, well, for Beverly and I who are pack rats, there's always more to do than we could possibly do in several lifetimes, because, we're always dealing with all this stuff we have collected over the years. Besides that, though, we are doing the things that I had talked about in preparing for the spring. So that's one of the things I wanted to talk to you about. We are going ahead with our plans for a big garden, and although I still don't know if I'll be able to get the equipment to till it. I think we can, but I don't know yet. We are going ahead with getting all the brush, that's collected in the yard over winter and during our absence, and getting that broken up and cut up and crated and put indoors in storage for next winter's wood. So nothing goes to waste. We utilize pretty much everything around here. And in between that, we have been getting our seeds started for those plants that we want to have a little jump start before they go out in the garden. Tomatoes and peppers and eggplants and things with a little bit longer growing season that you can start in containers. So we've been doing that, and we've been starting them in little cells, these little individual plastic cells. You can see this one's moist, it's dripping. There's 6 in this one, some of them have 9. Again, I had these on hand because we do grow a garden. So I had packages of cells in the garage. I had stacks of trays that the cells go in to keep the moisture in so it can absorb back up in. I got stacks of these because it's something we reuse year after year. That's a good investment, by the way, folks. These plastic seed trays, because they last for years if you're careful with them. And you can do with this with either the plastic cells or the little compost-like cube things that are packed that you put water on and they swell up like a magic sponge. You put those in there. We did that while we were in Maryland. So, however, for those of you who maybe want to start a garden this year and can't get out to buy the stuff, or don't have the money, or don't want to spend the money, it occurred to Beverly and I that one of the things you can use is an egg carton. And there's your cells. And this particular one is one of those pressed fiber ones. I prefer these. You could use the styrofoam ones. The only thing is they're going to trap the moisture in there, so you got to be careful about the amount of moisture that you keep in the soil so your plants don't rot. Whereas these, it'll leach out, and you can put these in on one of these. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut the top and the lip off, and I'm going to try to do it without hurting myself. Nothing like a good sharp knife to help keep you from cutting yourself, actually. I I know, you're all waiting with bated breath to see if I'm going to slash myself, but there we go. And that's just a regular, you know, utility knife. You get it in any hardware store. And lordy, folks.
Holy crap.
Okay, it's April 8th or 9th or something.
9th.
And it's supposed to rain today. Turns out that it's snowing. Did not, well, you can't really see it, dear, with the, unless we were to go outside, take the camera off the tripod. But it is snowing, which is unfortunate. Unexpected and unfortunate. Because it was sunny out not 20 minutes ago. But I did see on the forecast we were supposed to get precipitation. I just didn't think it was quite cold enough to snow. It's probably in the high 30s, 37 or so. Anyway, sorry about that. I got sidetracked. It's kind of weird to see it snow when you're talking about starting plants, but
I'll take a picture of it and put it in.
yeah. Anyway, you usually start your plants before the snow completely goes away anyway. And here, that could be all the way into mid-May. So, anyway, you just fill this with soil, and you know, you stick 1 or 2 seeds in each one of these, and then you know, you could carefully, you know, lift them out or scoop them out with a tablespoon or something when you go to set them out in the garden. I think this is a nice and essentially free way to have some extra plant cells. Now, for many of you, I suppose these just go in the trash. Some people in rural areas who have chickens reuse these, or save them for people who do have chickens. We used to when we had chickens. Now, we actually burn these in the wood stove in the winter and take that potash and put it on the garden. So now I have another use for them, and they will decompose. Anyway, so again, Beverly and I pick up stuff over the year and over the years, and so you're like, well, okay, that's real good, Paul, but I don't, you know, what about potting soil and all that? Well, yeah, we happen to have 4 or 5 bags of potting soil in the garage, because again, this is something that we do on a regular basis. So when you find it on sale, you buy a bunch, and it's like, well, we're not going to use that much. Yeah, but I'll use it next year. So we have some in the garage. I had bags of vermiculite in the garage, as it turned out, and these I brought back from Maryland while we were there. You can start your seeds right in vermiculite. I like to use it as a soil lightener, so I mix it about 3 or 4 parts potting soil and 1 part vermiculite to lighten the soil. So because this is a good deal more expensive than just potting soil, so I use it as a soil lightener rather than as a seed starter by itself, because it doesn't have any nutrient value whatsoever. You have to, you know, feed your seedlings. But anyway, so that's another thing we've been doing to fill up the time is, you know, mixing soil with vermiculite and filling the cells and getting the little seeds poked in there and planted, covered up, and then labeled so we know what the hell we grew. And then, sorry I keep glancing away, but that snow is a rather startling thing. So anyway, all labeled and everything. So we got them on a plastic folding table that we put up by the front window. Don't really need light for the first week or so because we're just waiting for them to germinate and come up. Hey, I got something I want to show you. Don't go away. It's right here. And I should have gotten this down before. You know, you got all your stuff in place and then make a video. I don't. Anyway. Seeds. And why are they on a plate? Because I'm drying them. Because they just came out of the squash they were in. Last fall, in October, late October, just before Halloween, I think it was, we bought, well, we buy a lot of squash and pumpkin in September and October anyway. But, you know, we're always like, well, we can get a couple more of this and a couple more of that. And so at the very end of the season, we bought 2 large butternut squash. This is one of them. This is what's left of the other one. After, I guess it's been, what, 6 or 7 months. Like, well, okay, I'm going to open one of those squashes and roast it, see how it's doing. And I'm thinking, a lot of times what will happen with these is they'll get desiccated, they'll get dry inside. So in here, in the middle, you'll have this depression that's dried out and kind of puckered up and shrank. And the flesh gets a little lighter. I mean, it's perfectly fine, it just dries a little bit, right? Not so with these. This one I opened looked like it had just come off the vine. It was perfectly firm, it was completely moist, it was like fresh. And it's been sitting in my utility room for over half a year. So I thought I would save the seeds. Anything that can remain that well hermetically sealed and stay that nice, and it turned out it was very flavorful. It was a nice sweet squash. I decided I would keep and try to propagate that above all else. And okay, we're going to cut again and we're going to go outside. Okay, can you see these on the screen?
Yes.
Is this unbelievable or what? It is April 9th. And of course we do live at the 43 degrees 30 minutes north. So this is not really unusual for April, but for this April it is. We've had a very mild and warm winter. So this is bizarre. But this is 28 days into quarantine and nature decided, hey, I got another surprise for you. So, but I'm like I say, I'm seeing this out the window while I'm trying to talk to you about how we're filling up our time in quarantine. And this happened, so I just thought I would take you out here and show you what life is, real life is like right now during the quarantine here for us in the United States.
And yes, folks, that's really the size of the snowflakes. This is no camera trickery. They're huge.
Yeah, they're very big, which is, I guess, typical when the weather is not terribly cold. And you can tell I'm not freezing to death, so it's not terribly cold. Like I say, it's in the high 30s. There is actually a little bit sticking, and you look down here above at the ground and you see there is actually some sticking on the ground as we speak. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. I'm going to go back inside and finish what I had to tell you. Sorry about that, folks. I could not resist taking you outside for a moment to show you that snow, because we have had very little snow this winter, and in the last month or 6 weeks we've had no snow to speak of, so it just got my attention. I know, it's like a big dumb dog with a squirrel. Hey, squirrel! Anyway, since these squashes had been so resistant to drying out or spoilage or anything, I decided we would go ahead and we would save the seeds and plant some of those. I actually started, I don't know, I think 8 of them, 6 of them, in pots to see if, make sure that the seeds are viable, that they'll germinate. But we eat a lot of squash. Very good for your health, by the way. Beta carotene. Well, actually, beta carotene and alpha keratin, both in squash. That's what gives them that cool orange color. The body converts beta carotene into vitamin A. It's good for your eyes. It's good for resisting cancer. It's good for a lot of things. So, squash, they're good for you. They're cheap and they're abundant. So, anyway, that is what we've been doing. I've also been doing, obviously some cooking. Like I said, we cook as a hobby. I've been trying some things that either I haven't done in 2.5 decades or that are brand new to us. One of the dishes, for those of you that follow me personally on social media, that we did is called sekihan, S-E-K-I-H-A-N. It's a Japanese dish. It's basically red beans and rice with an Asian twist, because it uses a short grain, glutinous rice, very starchy rice, and it uses a red bean called an azuki bean or edzuki bean, depending on how you choose the right or to pronounce it. Both are acceptable. So basically red beans and rice. But anyway, it turned out very, very tasty. I don't know why I haven't been eating more azuki beans, because I like the sweetened red bean paste. We use that in numerous things. But just as a savory dish, it's really, really good. And you can either put a little soy on it and have it, or you can have some sugar on it, which Bev did, and so it can be either a sweet or savory dish. The other dish I tried, also a Japanese dish that I haven't made in at least 20 years, if not 25, is ochazuki. Boy, I probably butchered that. Or just chasuki. C-H-A-Z-U-K-I or E. Again, it's a romanization of Japanese words, so. But it's rice and tea. So you cook your rice normally, nice white rice, long grain rice in this case, not the Shogun glutinous rice, and then you use tea as a broth that you put over it. Traditionally they use green tea, and I have made it that way. Recently I made it with oolong tea because it's got a very nice flavor. And then you put on it whatever kind of toppings you happen to like or have on hand. Roasted seaweed, the nori, is common in actual traditional usage, and all kinds of things like flying fish roe and things like that. You can look it up, chasuke, C-H-A-Z-U-K-E, and it'll tell you about the toppings. But it's basically rice and tea with some toppings. Now what I used, very, very simple, I used herring, Gifford herring. Okay, and 1 can of this is enough for 2 people. I'll serve a half a can per person. And so I just took my steamed rice, put it in a steamer, cooked a cup of rice for the 2 of us. I scooped some out, put it in a bowl. Kept this in fairly large pieces. I suppose you could crumble it up if you wanted, whatever, you know. Put that on top of the rice. Then we had some green scallion. That Bev minced up. We sprinkled on the green scallion and then the tea, voila. Now, for me, myself, I needed a little more salt, so I salted mine, but it's a nice hearty snack. It's warm. It's, if you like tea, you know, I don't know. It's relatively innocuous, and it's quick and it's easy. You can do it in like 20 minutes, because, you know, rice and water cooking, boom. Some tea, a couple of toppings, you're there. It's a nice little hot snack, or we had it as a side dish for dinner. So I am still doing the exotic, foreign, whatever, dish here and there with whatever else I'm making, and of course some squash. But we're staying plenty occupied. Of course, once a week I try to make a video. That takes up a little bit of time. And we haven't got any, well, I do have, the beans are up. I planted 5 beans and they're about that tall, but I don't think they're going to make it because they what's called bolted, B-O-L-T-E-D, bolted, hard for me to say. They got really tall and spindly, and I've got them propped up with some sticks and stuff, but I grow mostly just to have something green growing. Usually beans are one of those things you just plant right in the earth and they grow and they're fine. But the rest of the things, nothing is up yet. We've only had them in, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days. So it won't be until end of Sunday, Monday, Tuesday where we start seeing things pop, their heads pop up. Hopefully we can start setting things outside on snowy days like this. And anyway, keep them from bolting, slow them down a little bit, give them some light. That's about it for right now, folks. You heard Bev in the background. You know, she's alive and well and doing fine, and we're, you know, doing the things you normally do to keep body and soul together. You know, eating, sleeping, whatever. Watch a lot of TV, DVDs mostly. Old folks, we don't have streaming service. You know, we're old people. But it keeps us happy, and we're in good health. And say 28 days and then counting. I don't I don't know what to expect. I obviously think this is going to last a while, but we're prepared for that. I mean, we can't go on forever, but I think we're in good shape for the foreseeable future. We've talked to family. Nobody's sick in the immediate family, so we do know people who's had relatives that have fallen ill to the COVID-19 virus, and they're seriously ill, but nobody has passed away from it. So it's enough to make you concerned, but we're staying in good spirits. So I hope you are too. Drop me a line down in the comments down below. Tell me how you're doing. Just say hi. Let me know you're all right. I love hearing from all of you. I try very hard to respond to everybody, at least those that give me something to respond to. If you're new here, well, welcome to the channel. I appreciate you dropping by. Been a lot of new folks coming in recently, so thank you very much for that. I hope you'll find it interesting and pick subscribe to come along for the adventure. As always, folks, we've got lots more to show you. And as always, thank you for watching.